Ivan Toney, the new name in the England squad for the upcoming Nations League, foul to fire against Arsenal today, but I think he's more than earned his place in that squad, given how well Toney has started the season. Darren, Ambrose, you've lined up a special guest for us to talk all about Ivan Toney.
I certainly have, a former teammate of mine at Birmingham City, although I don't think we ever played together because I never played, and former Peterborough United legend and coach who apparently taught Ivan Toney everything he knows. So, welcome to the boot room, Aaron McLean. How are you, mate?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Very good, mate. So yeah, like I said, you coached Ivan Toney, I believe, at Peterborough United. How pleased are you to see him in the England squad?
Delighted. You know, obviously I know him as having coached him and personally as well. And you know, for what he's achieved in such a short space of time, really, you know, is nothing short of remarkable. You know, when he left Peterborough to go to Brentford, you hoped that he'd be able to kick on and help a club that was aiming to get into the Premier League. You know, you'd hope that he'd be able to go and hit the ground running and help them to do that. And his performances, the amount of goals that he scored, has not only done that, but it's now propelled him to the elite level where, you know, he's being introduced into the national team and could potentially find himself playing in the World Cup.
I mean, Aaron, his rise to where he is now, from Northampton and then going to Newcastle, kind of not working out for him there, got all sorts of loans, really hitting the ground running at Peterborough and now Brentford. How, in terms of mentality-wise, is this something that he can handle? We know he's a confident guy, but you know him more than most. Can he handle this rise to the national squad?
Yeah, I think now he's ready. I think now he's ready for it. Listen, the period that he had, that I was with him at Peterborough, you know, I think the end of that season, I think the season got curtailed, but he still ended up with 26 goals all in. And you looked and you said, all right, he's ready. He's now ready to go and make that step up. You know, he went to Brentford, scored 30 plus goals, got them promoted to the Premier League, step up again. Goes and scores 14 goals in his first full season, you know, for Brentford in the Premier League. And every step that he's just taken it in his stride. He hasn't been overawed by it. He hasn't almost let the occasion swamp him. He's just taken it in his stride. He's stayed the same person. His personality comes out. You know, I think anyone that watches the Brentford Twitter feed, you know, every day he's coming in, he's making jokes. He's the life and soul of the party. You know, and he is that kind of lad. You know, Bayo, you'll know. You know, he's just a confident lad who he almost enjoys it. He enjoys the pressures, and this pressure it's the top pressure that you can get. But I think he'll relish every single moment of it.
Yo, what's going on, Mackie? You good?
What's going on, Bayo? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. It's funny that you said that. I mean, I was there when Ivan Toney made his debut. At Bradford away, Adebayo gave him his debut at 15. And when you're talking about a confident lad, we had the likes of myself, Clark Carlisle, Clive Platt. You know, that was the change room. These were the boys that he was coming on from, and he weren't phased at all. So I want to throw, when you coach him, what's his greatest strength? You know, when you worked with him, what's his greatest strength?
Well, he's a finisher. You know, he used to frustrate me, if I'm honest, because I'd do shooting drills, and listen, as a striker, I was always one. Once I get in front of goal, I want to smash it as hard as I can into the corner and try and take the back of the net off. But he'd do shooting drills, and everything was caressing it into corners. And if the keeper reads it, the keeper makes an easy save. And sometimes I'd look and I'd think, are you doing this session properly? But that's his style. And now, because that's his style, and he's almost perfected it now. You see the way he takes penalties. He just strolls up to it and wants to just caress it into a corner or send the goalkeeper the wrong way. He's almost now perfected his style. And along with that, I think he now understands how to use his body. He now understands what his real strengths are. And that is, he can hold people off. He can use his strength. He's very dominant in the air. And then when he gets in front of goal, he doesn't panic. He has that composure to be able to slide things into corners and finish really well. So, you know, what is his main strength? I think he's got many. I don't think he's a one-trick pony. I think he's got many. And now being at the top level, we're being able to see that.
You know what, for me, what I've seen, and like I said, I knew him at 15 coming through the ranks. What I see from him more than anything, I feel that, anybody that knows Ivan knows he's a confident individual. But I think he's matured so much on and off the pitch, in the sense where he's so comfortable with being the glue. And that's in the sense of, you see how much assist he does. It's not about just the limelight, in the sense where he's very comfortable in his own skin, and I've seen him mature. I don't want to take credit for that he was watching me and Clive Platt. I don't want to take no credit for that. You know what I'm saying? But no, but to me, it must be nice for you to be able to see, and of course, listen, the dealings that he had with when he got bought from Northampton, from Newcastle, and then not being able to play, and sometimes being misunderstood, and then finding a home at, like you said, Peterborough, and then going on to Brentford, and then seeing what he's doing now. But you can see the maturity in the sense where it's come full circle, and there's individuals that thrive off this pressure, and it doesn't matter if it is Harry Kane or he's up against Verge, or he literally is very comfortable in his own skin, and that's the maturity that I've seen him developing. It just must be a good view for you to be able to see that as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think he got the move to Newcastle, and that didn't work out, and then he had to go and have 5, 6 loans at different clubs, and listen, they were all very different. At none of them clubs would you say he went and absolutely set the world alight. So he's had to do it the long way round. To get to this point now hasn't been an easy road, even though to many people, they've only just heard the name Ivan Toney. So it almost looks like he's just burst onto the scene. So I think with all those different loans and different experiences, now he's found, I think at Peterborough, he found a place where he felt comfortable. He was able to develop himself and get himself to the point where it's like, okay, now I'm ready to make that step. I think the Newcastle move was probably too early. Yeah. It was probably too early in his career, and he had to take those steps back. I think that's a huge example to so many young players that, listen, sometimes you have to take those steps back, understand, learn more about yourself, learn more about the game, have a real appreciation for the game. And then, as long as you're prepared to put the hard work and dedication in, then you've still got the opportunity to make it back. And Ivan's done that gradually. And now he's now found himself at a Premier League club in the England squad. And now it's down to him. I've no doubt that he's got the mindset and the temperament to be able to go and implement the game that you see for Brentford on the international stage.
It's a brilliant story for Ivan Toney, brilliant story for the EFL actually, and shows why our pyramid is so important and why it should be cherished. Aaron McLean, thanks very much for joining the boot room tonight. We're going to be hearing from Barry Fry actually on what Ivan Toney being capped by England could mean financially for his old club Peterborough United. Barry Fry, always fantastic value. We've been talking England squad as well, who we feel should be in there, and paying particular focus to Ivan Toney, having won his first call-up for the senior side. We've already heard from Aaron McLean, his former coach at Peterborough. We can speak to the man who took him to Peterborough United now. Barry Fry, their Director of Football, has joined the programme. Very good evening, Barry.
Good evening, chaps.
Evening.
Evening.
You must be as pleased as anybody that Ivan Toney has found himself in the England squad.
Well, I've got to be honest. If anybody deserves an England call-up, it's Ivan, because I watched him first play as a 16-year-old boy for Northampton, and he played against our youth team as well. And we did try to buy him for $200,000, but Graham Carr, who was developed all the players and was the director of football at Newcastle at the time, felt sorry for his old club Northampton and paid $250,000 up front. But going to Newcastle was a disaster because they never give him a chance. They loaned him out to 6 different clubs. He always had a bag packed to go wherever they wanted him to go. He didn't feel he belonged. So when we come in and bought him 4 years ago, I said to him, come back home. You need a bit of stability. You need a bit of love. And we're the club to give it to you. So we did. And the first day, he wanted to listen. He wanted to learn. He wanted to improve. And 4 years later, he's still like that. He wants to listen, he wants to learn, he wants to improve. And Thomas has done brilliant, obviously, with him at Brentford, took him to another stage. There was loads and loads of clubs in for him, but, they all said, he scored goals in League One, not sure he can do it in the Champ or the Prem. I had great belief he could do them in both, and told everybody that. Not only that, he was our best defender. He headed more balls out from free kicks and corners than any of our defenders put together. So he is an all-round player, and also great man to have in the dressing room. Win, lose or draw, he lifted players up. He made them go again, and we'd made him captain for a time, and he repaid us greatly. Mind you, January before we sold him, I had a big row with him and his dad. And if you think Ivan's a big man, you ought to see his dad twice as tall and twice as broad. And they wanted to go to Barnsley, who was in the Championship at the time. And I said, I'm telling you what, if you allow your agents to take you to Barnsley, you want to sack your agents, because you're far, far better than that. At that time, I think they could both beat me up, but now, when they look back, they're very pleased I waited for Brentford. Brentford was already in. Brentford did it 7 times for Ivan. They was very, very persistent, and, in the end, we gave way because we held him up for the Barnsley. We didn't want to hold him up for Brentford, and it's worked out brilliant for everybody, Brentford, Peterborough, and the player.
And it'll work out well, presumably, for Peterborough if he does get his first England cap over the next couple of weeks. I'd imagine that you put a clause in there that if he got international recognition, that Peterborough would be entitled to a few quid. Is that fair to say?
It's fair to say I put a lot of different clauses in there, and I must say Brentford have been absolutely fantastic. They've paid us on the dot for everyone. In fact, when they got promotion, they paid us early, so they've been magnificent. They've been absolutely different class, Brentford, with us and with Ivan. They brought him on. He's done just what he done with little old Peterborough. He's done it Brentford in the Championship and in the Premier League. And like I said earlier, nobody deserves an England call-up more than him, because he's worked very, very hard at his game. He always thought he could make a player. He had that belief in him. And despite the kickbacks and the kicks in the what's-it, he carried on, and he's, hopefully he's reached his goal. We'll see. But it'd be wonderful if he's involved in the England squad to go to the World Cup and fetch the World Cup back.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Long time since '66.
Agreed.
Come on, England.
Agreed.
Bayo?
Yeah, what's going on, Baz? How you doing, mate? You okay?
Bayo, how are you, my son? We're missing you on the field.
I know.
What's the matter with you?
I'm old now.
Another year at Peterborough.
No, I'm old. All right, listen. But actually, I wanted to touch on, when you said you saw Ivan at 16.
Yeah.
And of course, I was with him when he was at 15. What stood out to you when you saw him as a 16-year-old, when you first saw him, and then when he walked through the door at Peterborough? What did stand out for you? Because I want people to get the sense of what...
His presence on the field as a youth player, his presence as soon as he walked into the ground to talk about terms and all that. It wasn't an easy sell, because he'd been to so many clubs, and, we really had to sell Peterborough. But I said to him, look, we are the best club in the world. Look at our stats over the last 15 years. We've sold a player every year. We've got to offset the losses. But we put you on the stage, and if you're good enough, we get what we can for you and sell you. You won't become a millionaire at Peterborough United, but when we sell you, you will be, because you get a 4 or 5 year contract on ridiculous money. And that's what's happened to 16, 17 players that we've sold on. Yeah. So he bought into that in the end. When I refused to let him go to Barnsley, that was the end of the window. As soon as the window shut, mate, he ran through brick walls for us still. His attitude never changed. And I think you get that with players that been in the lower levels, had a bit of misfortune, not had all the luck in the world. They're hungry. And that's Ivan. And even when he went to Brentford, his presence, and in the dressing room, he's a man. He's a leader of men. He's brilliant, mate. Absolutely brilliant. I'm so pleased for him. I couldn't tell you.